The pick is in.
All right, the Seattle Kraken have made a selection in the 2025 NHL Draft. I'm Gil Martin, joined now by the host of Locked On Kraken, Erica L. Ayala, and they have selected Jake O'Brien with the 8th overall pick. And, Erica, are you surprised it's another center?
You know, I'm not surprised. I think that there are some things that new general manager Jason Botterill has been doing that have been surprising, like, showing up a little bit in the offseason, making a few moves ahead of the draft. However, thinking about how this team scouts, thinking about how they approach development, no, picking another centerman, not surprising. We were kind of talking in the green room, so to speak, that at number 8, you still want to pick best available, and there were plenty of centermen to pick from. Jake O'Brien, what I like here about the pick is that you get a lot of analysts that talk about his 200-foot game, talk about, how he can really manipulate space and time. That to me just speaks to high IQ and someone that can really help move the puck in the right direction for the Seattle Kraken.
What aspect of his game do you think he needs to work on the most to be NHL ready?
Some of the things that I've been hearing have been his skating, and good news there is that the Seattle Kraken still have Jessica Campbell in the mix there, who comes with that background. So, skating is something. Even Matty Beniers continues to work on his skating. I think comparative to some of the picks that we've talked about on Locked On Kraken, the size is not exactly there, but at that position, not gonna, cry into my milk about it here. But yeah, I think anyone at this age coming in entry draft, you want to see if they can just put on a little bit more lean muscle, make sure that they are not getting tossed around on the ice, and maybe that skating ability just get a little bit sharper on the edges and things of that nature. But all things that can be fixed, especially when you have someone that sees the ice well, can react and respond very well, and can play in all 3 zones.
Assuming that he meets expectations and his potential, where do you see him fitting into the lineup?
And that is the question. We have already seen conversations that perhaps the Seattle Kraken are thinking of moving Berkeley Catton to the wing. I'd want to see him in the mix. We've got the development camp or the rookie camp that's coming up here pretty soon. But assuming that, he can get that skating ability right, if he can develop his size, like we've seen Shane Wright do, if he keeps that IQ and just plays hard on the puck, like we continue to see Matty Beniers do, getting really good on the defensive side of the ice, I think that he can remain a center. I'm curious, though, to see, especially given what we have coming up with some of the prospects already in the pipeline, is he someone that remains a true center, or will he move out to the wing? I think that's the biggest question mark for me, but very early returns. The pick just came in, Gil, so I guess we'll see how it pans out.
As far as the Kraken goes, any other position you think is the next most important for them to look at in this draft?
Yeah, I think that if we see a draft class where there are a lot of opportunities to pick up a really solid defenseman, I would like to see that. I think if you just look even at this draft class, what I want versus what the Kraken will do and what the kind of MO and how the team is built a little different. I do think getting some really great size and really heady defensemen in the pipeline, but particularly size. I think we've done pretty well when it comes to drafting defenders. And if you look at the size that we have on the team overall, coming from the blue line, of course, but those players are likely going to be aging out soon, or maybe transitioning as the team transitions to be that, quote, perennial playoff team that we are still searching for since that one appearance we made in season 2, Gil. I think that you still need size on the blue line. And so if you see some of the veterans move on in the years to come, we're talking the next 3 to 5 years here, perhaps, then having some homegrown talent that fits the culture of this organization is where I personally would like to see the Kraken go in the next handful of drafts.
All right. Well, for more on Jake O'Brien, here's Locked On NHL Prospects.
Is Jake O'Brien the most clever puck handler and playmaker in the entire 2025 NHL Draft?
I'm Sebastian High from Locked On NHL Prospects, ready to give you a breakdown of his game. He's a 6'2", 170-pound right shot center playing in the OHL for the Brantford Bulldogs this season. He was among the top producers among draft eligibles in the entire CHL with 99 points in 66 games. As a June birthday, he's among the younger players eligible in this year's draft class, and at 170 pounds, he still has to grow into his frame. He's among the most creative playmakers at lower paces in space, and especially on the power play in this year's class. He really can make opponents pay, but still he's going to have to learn to execute at higher speeds in order to project the skill game to the National Hockey League. If he does so, this could be a Dylan Strome or Evgeny Kuznetsov style player in a top 6 playmaking capacity, but he's probably going to need 3 to 4 years to develop into an NHLer. For more on him and all things NHL draft, make sure to check us out at Locked On NHL Prospects on YouTube or wherever you find your podcast.
All right, and for continued coverage of the Seattle Kraken, check out Locked On Kraken on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.